Urgent Montreal Canadiens fans. Do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because here, we bring you daily videos with the latest Montreal Canadiens updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Alright, folks, today we're diving deep into some exciting whispers, rumors, and strategic moves that could very well shape the future of the Montreal Canadiens. Now, if you're a true Habs fan, you know how crazy the offseason can get, especially when the team is in a bit of a rebuilding phase but still looking to make impactful moves. And let's be honest, with the 2023 to 2024 NHL season approaching, the Canadiens are sitting at a fascinating crossroads, full of potential, but also with some critical needs that could define how quickly they turn things around. Now, one of the most talked about names in the NHL rumor mill right now is Trevor Zegras. Yes, the talented young star from Anaheim. You might remember that Zegras was the 9th overall pick in the 2019 NHL draft, and back then, he was considered one of the most exciting prospects out there. He's been on the U.S. National Development Program alongside Cole Caulfield, the Canadiens' own rising star, so the connection is there, and fans have been speculating for years about whether Montreal might be eyeing Zegras as a future piece to their puzzle. But here's the thing, while Zegras has undeniable talent, his performance has been somewhat inconsistent, and he's faced some criticism regarding his defensive game and overall maturity at the NHL level, despite his flashy skills and creative playmaking. Now, the question is, would the Canadiens, under the guidance of Kent Hughes and his front office, consider targeting Zegras? Well, the answer is complicated. See, Montreal's current roster desperately needs a solid second-line center. Kirby Dach, who was acquired last season, has shown flashes of brilliance but hasn't quite solidified that role as the team's second-line anchor. The Canadiens need someone who can bring consistency, physicality, and offensive production. Zegras, with his flair and playmaking ability, could be a tantalizing option, but there's a lot of risk involved. Plus, Anaheim, the Ducks, are in a rebuild mode, they have a lot of cap space and are building for the future, which might give them leverage in any negotiations. But let's switch gears here, because the real intrigue lies in a different player that could be a more realistic target for Montreal. We're talking about Mason McTavish, the 3rd overall pick from the 2021 NHL draft. McTavish has been developing steadily over his first 3 seasons, and he's now entering the stage where he's ready to take on a bigger role. The Ducks, interestingly enough, might be open to moving him, especially now that he's a restricted free agent. That opens up some possibilities for the Canadiens, particularly because they need a versatile, skilled center who can slot into their lineup immediately and provide that secondary scoring punch. Now, I've already mentioned that I find it unlikely Montreal would use an offer sheet this offseason, mainly because Anaheim has plenty of cap room and could easily match any offer for McTavish. Still, it's worth considering the kind of return the Ducks would be looking for. They're in a phase of accumulating assets, and with 9 draft picks already in their arsenal for the upcoming draft, including one in the first round, they're clearly planning for the future. Montreal, on the other hand, has 2 first-round picks at 16th and 17th overall, which could be very enticing for Anaheim. Those picks are valuable assets, especially when you consider the potential talent available in this draft class. And here's where things get even more interesting. The Canadiens are sitting pretty with 12 selections in June's draft and 9 in 2026. That's a significant stockpile of assets, and it puts them in a strong position to make bold moves if they choose. The Ducks, still in their rebuild phase, are also accumulating assets, and they could be interested in acquiring future picks or prospects to accelerate their development. But what if they want a player who can step right into their lineup and make an impact immediately? Someone like Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, or Ivan Demidov isn't going anywhere, but could Montreal consider moving other pieces to get McTavish? Now, the big question that fans are asking is, would Hughes actually entertain trading someone like Juraj Slafkovsky? The young Slovak winger has shown flashes of his potential but also struggles with consistency and physicality. If the Ducks see a fit, could Montreal be willing to part with him? It's a tough call. Slavkovsky's raw talent and size make him an intriguing piece, especially if Anaheim is looking for a project with high upside. But the question remains, would the Ducks want Slavkovsky, or are they more interested in a seasoned NHL player or a higher draft pick? Considering their current asset accumulation, it's plausible they might prefer future assets or prospects rather than a player still developing in the NHL. And what about the possibility of Montreal moving other players? Could they be willing to part with Alex Newhook or even someone like Joel Armia or Christian Dvorak? It's always a delicate balancing act, trying to improve the roster without giving up too much of the future. But Hughes and Gorton are known for their strategic thinking. They're not just making moves for the sake of it. If they see an opportunity to land McTavish or even a more established NHL player that can fill a gap on the roster, they'll definitely pull the trigger. It's all about timing, value, and the long-term vision for the team. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture here. The Canadiens are in a phase of rebuilding that's both exciting and nerve-wracking. They have a promising core of young players like Caulfield, Suzuki, and Demidov, who are showing they can be legitimate building blocks. But they also need that second-line center, that reliable right-shot defenseman, and perhaps even a veteran presence to guide the younger guys. The trade rumors around Mason McTavish or even a potential Zegras target reflect Montreal's desire to accelerate their development and become more competitive sooner rather than later. It's a delicate dance, balancing the present and the future, all while trying to stay under the salary cap and maximize draft assets. The upcoming draft in June is going to be pivotal. With so many picks, Montreal has the chance to pick some high-upside prospects, but they could also use those assets in trades to bring in established NHL talent. Considering the Ducks' interest in accumulating assets, they might be willing to part with a player like McTavish if the right package comes along, perhaps including a first-round pick, a top prospect, or even a couple of solid young players. But, of course, nothing is set in stone, and every move will be carefully calculated by Hughes and his team. And let's not forget about the other rumors swirling around the league, like the Canadiens' potential pursuit of right-shot defensemen. They've been linked to a few names, and with the recent performances of prospects like David Reinbacher, the team is clearly looking to bolster their blue line for the long haul. Reinbacher's development has been promising, especially in the Calder Cup playoffs, where he showed he can handle the pressure and make smart plays. But if Montreal wants to add a veteran or a more established defenseman, they might have to make some tough decisions, especially if they're considering moving prospects or draft picks to get that piece. In the end, folks, what all of this boils down to is that the Montreal Canadiens are at a fascinating crossroads. They have the assets, the young talent, and the cap space to make bold moves. Whether it's going after a young star like Mason McTavish, targeting a potential superstar like Zegras, or making a splash in the draft, the front office has plenty of options. The big question is, what will they choose? Will they be patient and wait for the right opportunity? Or will they swing for the fences and try to make a move that instantly elevates the team's status? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, Montreal fans, you should be excited. The offseason is just getting started, and the Canadiens are definitely not standing still. Remember, the team has a rich history, filled with legendary players, iconic moments, and a passionate fanbase that's always hungry for success. This franchise has seen its ups and downs, but the core of the Canadiens' identity remains. They're a team that values tradition, resilience, and the pursuit of excellence. And right now, they're in a position to reshape their future, to bring in new talent, and to build a roster that can contend for the Stanley Cup once again. And if you're like me, you're eager to see what's next, what moves will be made, and how this all will unfold. So, stay tuned, folks. We'll keep you updated with all the latest news, rumors, and analysis. The Canadiens' offseason is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Whether they're targeting young prospects, making blockbuster trades, or stockpiling draft picks, one thing's for sure, Montreal is ready to make some noise. And I'll be right here, breaking it all down for you, so don't forget to subscribe, turn on those notifications, and share your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you think about all of this. Do you believe Montreal should go all in for McTavish? Or do you think they should hold on to their assets and wait for the right moment? Drop your opinions below, and let's get the conversation going. And now, Montreal Canadiens fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Canadiens. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Montreal Canadiens news. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's go Habs!